stuff. I'll tell you a story. That's an amazing story. I had a girl come to me, and she brought her boyfriend with her. That was 9/11. A big, rugged guy. And I'm talking to him, he's smoking, cursing up a storm, But he was a likable guy. I liked him. And he said to me, you think this, I won't use the word that he used, you think this stuff, works? Yeah, it works sometimes. It's very, very helpful. So then his girlfriend said, you should do it. He said, I'm finished. He says, I'm cooked. He says, nothing's going to help me. Turns out he was at 9/11 for months, Guy was coughing and, he was a mess, So then, I said, why don't you try stop smoking? That's not help you. What good is it going to do? He said, I enjoy smoking. I keep a cigarette in my mouth all the time. He says, I think it's keeping me alive. In some respect, there's an element of truth because of that stimulation. He was not symptomatic, but it's killing him by not being symptomatic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, lo and behold, he calls me up, and he says, I'm going to try following a diet with my girlfriend. So what does he do? He goes on, he starts following the diet, and he didn't do the most radical diet in the world. And what he did basically did my intermediate level diet, and he was doing good. He was a big guy, maybe 250, 6'2". He lost about 50 pounds,
wow.
Which he didn't care. He said he felt good. He was breathing better and everything. And then he said to me, he started to throw up a lot. And I had told him to go down and walk near the ocean barefooted, because of negative ions, and you were grounded.
Well, let's talk about that for a second as you tell this story. You said you've told me to do this, to walk barefoot in the surf or on the wet sand and take deep breaths where the waves are breaking.
Yeah, right.
And you were telling me that it creates an electrical current through the body between the minerals coming off of the breaking waves.
And you're getting that electromagnetic energy, which is, it's like, it's very, very healing. That's why they have these tables that people lay on, right? They have different PMF pads, they call them, different types of applications that it helps relieve pain and everything that works that well. Well, if you ground yourself, you go out and walk in the meadow with grass, amongst the trees because of the oxygen and the carbon dioxide exchange, or you go near the ocean and it's wet, it's a better conductor. I feel it. I get down there, you walk, and before you know it, you're breaking out into a run. You just, after 10, 15 minutes, you feel good if you go on a regular basis. And once in a while, you run and let your feet get wet. And then you're getting, as the water breaks on a beach, you're getting negative ions. Or if you're near a waterfall, you ever go near a waterfalls up in the country and how good you feel? Mm-hmm. That's the same type of thing.
It's almost like after a rainfall, too.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the negative ions get released.
But let me tell you what happened with this guy. So he said he was throwing up. I said, okay. I said, when are you going down the beach again? He said, I'm going down tomorrow. I said, okay, I'll meet you down the beach. We went down to South Beach, and he didn't look good. He just didn't look good. So what happened? We're walking along, and I see him, he's like fighting back to his ability that way he wanted to vomit, So I said to him, Tony, I know it's not a pleasant experience, but vomit, it's not going to be a big deal. I didn't realize what was going to happen. All of a sudden, the guy went, "Ugh!" And what came out of his mouth, it looked like a pail of marshmallow or something. This guy started throwing up this white slimy stuff. Of course, it was probably from 9/11. Then he proceeded to tell me that he had diarrhea for a while. His immunological system, his body was trying to unload itself. Well, I was flabbergasted when I saw what this guy was throwing up. I just couldn't believe it. I said to myself, in fact, I come home and told my wife. My wife, she's not impressed by any of this stuff. Oh, Freddie, you don't know what's happening with people. So what happened? He went down, he kept going down the beach, he kept throwing up. I went down, met him, he threw up. Then he started to throw up less. And then he started telling me he felt real good. Now, he didn't take any heroic measures. He didn't do some of the things that we know that people can do. He didn't do all that. He just started leaving out all the processed food. That's what he did, though. So guess what happened? This guy started to feel real good. So he stayed pretty much onto the diet. And he told me that he decided he was going to move to Florida. And he said, I want to be honest with you, I'm back to smoking. Not a good idea. He said, I know. I realized that. He said, I believe, You know what?
He had quit smoking when he was on the diet for a while.
Right.
Well, that's even better. I didn't realize he had quit smoking.
Yeah, he
too.
quit smoking.
Wow.
And he did what he was doing for about, I don't remember exactly, probably around a year or so, you know. But I saw what come out of that guy. It was unbelievable.
The power of what happens on the beach is incredible. I learned that as a teenager. When one time we were all out at a beach somewhere in New Jersey, and I decided to start drinking alcohol. I was drinking 40 ounces of malt liquor on a beach. I'd never had alcohol on a beach before that point. I felt sick for days after that, but immediately felt disgusting and horrible and sick on it. If we would have been, a mile inland in some house party or something, it would have been fine.
Well, the sunshine had a lot to do with that, too.
The sunshine, everything. I was just sickened beyond, and I thought, this is the worst experience. It was terrible.